Welcome to the Sister Street Show with Mary Nunley and Sharon Otaguero, interactive show and virtual playground where we explore topics around entrepreneurship, online and in-person events, and the games that can be played with all of it. We invite you on our journey of sisterhood discovery and trial and error in the adventures of online entrepreneurship.
Welcome, everyone. This is Mary Nunley, one of your co-hosts with the Sister Street Show, and my fabulous, amazing, and always entertaining co-host.
Aloha, good morning, and good afternoon. It is Sharon Otaguero. Welcome back.
Yes, we're so excited to be here. And so some of you who've been watching us for a while know that Sharon and I always have a little bit of warm up before the show. And so we would love for you to drop in the comments which way of introducing ourselves do you like better? So, I'm a very competitive person, and Sharon showed me this really cool trick in Zoom where you can go into Canva, create your logo, save it as a transparent background, and then have it appear above you or to the left or right of you, wherever you would like on the screen. Then I said, great, I'm going to one up you. Let me show you mine. And so I introduced her to the Warmly.ai app that's built into Zoom now as well, and said, look at all the cool things I can do. So personally, I'm having a little bit of concern about that being too much information on the screen. I like the crisp and clean look that Sharon has, but drop a comment and let us know what you think. And you may be going, what does this have to do with entrepreneurship? What does this have to do with what you're even talking about? Well, as we've been saying throughout the seasons, getting your message out and having people know who you are is important, but is it in your face like I'm currently doing, or is it more subtle like Sharon is doing? And so I'm going to stop rambling right now and let Sharon tell you what we're going to be talking about on today's episode.
We are continuing on the entrepreneur journey, but to finish off Mary's point, it is important how you decide your branding, right? So the brand is the things that you decide are your logo, your business, et cetera, et cetera. The branding is the action of how you are communicating your brand. So how do you choose larger or more subtle? Your information share is important. Also, on this Sister Street Show, we are taking this journey together. So we might step on the sidelines and talk about some tech stuff, some fun stuff. Hopefully you like that. And what we try to do is make sure that you don't get too distracted with it. However, we want to also keep things interesting. So that's why we do these fun little sidebars. And if you're interested in either of those, Warmly or the logo creation, just let us know, and we will happily get on a quick call with you or send you a quick video to say, this is how you do it. For she and I, it is part of the reason of this show is that you don't have death by a thousand cuts. It is important to us that you know which technology helps, what fun options there might be, but also that you don't get overwhelmed and think, oh my gosh, I had this and this for my emails, I had this and this for my websites, and then you're not actually doing a business. So we will bring random stuff up and we want to keep you focused. So
great point, Sharon. Thank you for clarifying.
So back to the focus for today. Last week, we talked about the start of your entrepreneur journey in getting your sales. To close that piece off, we want to make sure that you document how you got your first 10 sales or your first consistent level of sales in a one-page document. We like to call it the one-page business plan for you, as long as you're writing down, hey, how did that customer come through this journey with me so that I know what that process is? Because now we're going to level you up and we want you to automate your growth. So Mary, what does automated growth mean to you?
Oh, Sharon, great question. So for me, automated growth means nurturing that relationship with the customer or potential customers, but in a way where my personality and our company's personality is coming through, but not necessarily where I am spending hundreds of hours a month writing individual emails or writing everything by myself. So finding a process that introduces myself and my team to our clients in a way that is consistent, stable, and pretty much, self growing or self pacing.
I love that. Self-growth thing, we both did it. Self-growing, self-pacing. You also said the magic word, which you saw my big smile of, process. You guys will get hopefully in love with and not sick and tired of, but you'll hear that a lot from us is, how do you create a process for that? How do you have a plan for that? And you also mentioned to take yourself out of the equation a little bit. So I love that. That's definitely what we want when we're trying to automate. And so this is level 2 in the level 1 through 7 that we've talked about, but automating your growth. First and foremost, you want to set your goals, like Mary said. So having the goal of understanding that you want to take yourself out, you want to create a process and make it easier. The next step is to make sure that you know where you want to create that process. So Mary, we talked about that, the 3 to 5 things, but do you want to sort of dive in on how to find those areas that are the profitable areas?
Oh, that's a great question. So assuming that you have made your first 10 sales, one of the things you want to look.
Oh, sorry, I got to kick my puppy out. Could you hear the paper ripping?
Uh-huh.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Sorry, I heard the ripping and then I looked and it's like all of my quarterly planning that she's like, shh, shh, shh. Okay.
I heard it. I'm like, okay, so I'll make sure to let Amy know to watch for that.
Yeah. So when she sees the timing, okay.
Out. That's
so,
right.
Those 3 to 5 processes, how do you know which areas are profitable?
Yeah, no, and that's a really great question. And when you're first starting out, you really won't know what areas are the most profitable. So my suggestion, and this is again what my team and I have done, is we've looked at the different products that we have offered to our potential clients and then looked at, okay, we're selling this for X amount of dollars. How much time does it take us to do it? Well, if we're selling something for $100 and it takes us 10 hours to do it, and let's say that I'm paying somebody $20 per hour to do the work, well, that clearly sends up a flare that this is not profitable, because if I'm selling it for 100 and I'm paying 200, it's a loss leader. And sometimes that might be part of your strategy as you build your business, just like grocery stores do it. You know, they'll put stuff for sale to get you into the store, knowing that you're not going to just walk out with the bag of chips. You're going to end up probably buying dip and drinks and whatever. So they can take a loss on one item, knowing that you're going to add all these other items on. So when you're looking at those 3 to 5 areas, think about, what are your cost of creating the product? How much are you selling it for? And then are you making a little bit of a profit on it? And until you start tracking that, you're not going to know. So
I
hopefully
love
that was
that,
the
Mary.
answer you were looking
Yeah,
for.
that was excellent. Well, that wasn't what I was looking for. That was even better. It's true. It's tracking and understanding at each stage where you're making money, where you're losing money, and making a decision. Mary, you said a term, and I've heard it before. Obviously, maybe some of our listeners have not, but I still don't understand it. What does lost leader mean?
So a loss leader is an item that you know is going to cost you money to sell if that's the only thing people were to buy, but you use it as a way to pique people's curiosity, knowing that in, let's say, 90% of the cases, people are going to purchase other things. And so in our case, our interactive lead magnets are really a loss leader for us. But we've created those with the understanding that this will then, if we do a good job with them, turn into a longer term continuing relationship with the client. But it's an easy point of entry into our system, into our process, before they invest lots of time and money creating a full scale course.
Love it. Okay. So I'm going to say that's like a breadcrumb trail, right? So
Mhm.
you lose money by buying the bait or buying the bread, but you're going to catch the fish or catch the bird at the end of it. So
Yes.
got it. Okay. So I hope some of you were wondering, because I've always sort of known, but Mary explains things so very well. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And going then, when you start tracking, you understand where you're making money, when you're not making money. Another way to look at what are those areas that are creating the most profit are basically what would, if that one step changed or didn't happen, what would that do for your business? And that's where you'll know where in your business and process you need to focus on. And again, we're looking for 3 to 5 things, but thinking about, okay, well, if I didn't collect the money the right way, right? So if I didn't have that change handed over to me, we're going back to that ice cream sale, and count out the change and give the right amount back, what could happen? Well, you could lose money if they gave you a $1 bill and it cost 5. And the person that was taking the money didn't know how to count, right? It could make a difference if you were plugging it into a cash register and the cash register spit out change, and all your process was to check what the change amount should be versus actually understanding the ins and outs. So identifying where in your customer process are those steps that if they were done wrong, you're going to lose money, you're not going to make as much, or they could make a difference in how you deliver.
That makes a lot of sense. So it again, it's identifying and watching the process. In the information business, because it's not a physical process, sometimes it really is looking at how many hours does it take me to do this? Because if I'm a solopreneur and I'm doing it all myself, are there tools, are there places that instead of, maybe hand drawing everything for a course, I go somewhere where there's artwork for sale, or it's Creative Commons licensed, where I've got permission to use it without paying a fee. That might save me time, which means that I'm more profitable, but it's that step. You have to look at every step of the way.
Yeah. Another thing in information industry is when you bring on other people. So oftentimes you might need either a graphic designer, copywriter, or someone else in that process. If that step or that process is not managed, then your timeline is out of your control, right? Because you can't move forward without that logo or that piece of the process. So making sure you understand all of those is also important. So now we're to the point where we pick the 3 to 5, and there is a way to check that we have done it properly. And Mary has a great resource for this, but first let's talk about what is that document? What is that thing that makes sure you know you did it well?
So that you did it well, or that you completed it?
Yes.
Well, because there's 2 different things. I mean, and now this is the teacher in me coming out. So did I do it well? I have a rubric that says, okay, this means I did it, this means I did it good, this means I did it well, this means I did it great. And I have clearly defined what each of those states looks like. The other place is, did I do it consistently? I love checklists, and I have been a fan of management by checklists for years, because it helps make sure you remember everything. So just like getting into the car to drive, or just like an airline pilot taking off, they have a checklist of, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? And in your business, Sharon and I are both firm believers that you need to have checklists.
Yes. So having that measurement, and both examples of doing it and doing it well are examples of having a measurement, right? So make sure once you've identified those top 3 to 5 things that make a difference in your business, then you want to have either a checklist, or your other option is an audit, which could be what Mary said on whether you did it well, or it could just be on, was it actually done? Some examples of industries where you might think, okay, well, a checklist, I might need it to start and train someone, but once it's there, they should know the process. Well, a flight pilot, as we were talking about, she and I before the show, a flight pilot does their flight checklist every time they take off. And don't you want them to do the checklist every single time?
Definitely.
Right. And so making sure that you have that checklist, so and reiterate the importance of having it done every time, will ensure that the areas that make a difference in your business are done, and done properly every single time. Mary, you have that amazing resource. Do we want to kind of share what that is? And
Sure, certainly. So when we were chatting before the show, Sharon had said something about checklists, and I got up and went to my bookcase and pulled out one of my favorite books called The Checklist Manifesto by Atul Gawande. And this is set in the medical area where he had gone in and helped improve or lower the risk of complications and surgeries and stuff, because what they were finding in their research is that different hospitals and different medical places did not have checklists. And so people thought things were being done, or they just relied on memory. And once those checklists were implemented, outcomes improved. And throughout the book, there are different areas and different industries where he mentions where checklists are valuable. It's a quick read. I think it took me just a couple of hours to go through the book, but I'm just like, oh, okay. I hadn't thought about that. And it's like, if all these other industries can use checklists, well, then why can't I? So I would highly recommend it. We'll include the title in the show notes if you want to check it out later.
excellent. Yes. And the same, right? You want your doctor to always fill out your medical chart, always do that checklist so that you don't get misdiagnosed, so that you don't have the wrong medication. And I worked in a hospital for one season, helping them with their project management. And the same, the checklists were so important, from how I was onboarded as a contractor, understanding just being in the hospital, representing in any way, shape, or form. We were required to know a basic level of emergency response. And then the doctors and nurses and every step of the process and anything that we touched had a checklist or an audit. So it is that important. And you might think that your business is not life-saving, but your business definitely could be life-changing. So make
Yes.
sure.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
All right. So, Mary, we sort of talked about how to automate our growth, coming up with the 3 to 5 things that make a difference in our business, having that checklist and audit. What would you say is 1 or 2 tips that, we could help with automation? So how could you make things more automatic for people so that when they're implementing these processes for themselves or their teams, that they're not reinventing the wheel every single time?
Oh, great question. So I may not be going with the answer that you're looking for, but I'm thinking of some of the things that have really helped us. So, for example, using something like a Calendly or an automated calendar system, where if I'm working with potential clients, they can book an appointment, and I've already written a sequence that says, thank you for booking your call with me. Here's the link to the Zoom. And then they get a message reminder. So I'm not having to think all the time, did I send that email? Did I send the Zoom link? Did I do this? And then it follows up with a thanks for having the meeting with us. And so that's a simple automation. There are other things that you can automate with, like your email, writing a nurture sequence to welcome new customers or potential customers. And then once you write it, you can set it up so that anytime somebody fills out information on your website and they give you permission to email them, they get this series of emails that welcomes you, tells them a little bit more about you, tells them a little bit about your business, tells them what to expect when working with you or about your product. So those are 2 simple automations that I think everyone should have, and they really help with building a customer relationship, helping with that journey, and also getting those sales in. So Sharon, what do you think?
Yeah, that was exactly what I was looking for. And Mary gave 2 great examples. One is for following up with the customers, and then the other is once you've closed the sale. So at the lead stage and at the onboarding stage. And basically, that's what we're looking for, is once you have those 3 to 5 process chosen, and you understand what it is by creating a checklist or an audit, then you want to try to create some automation. And automation, where you want to look for, is anywhere that you're doing something again and again. So are you emailing them again and again? Are you sending them a welcome packet? And you've tried it a couple times, but sometimes you've missed it. So you want to look for areas in that process or in that checklist where you could create some ease for yourself so that you don't make that mistake. A lot of businesses fail in the profit because they don't create that automatic win. So how do you create automation that helps you so that your customers know what to expect? You build that trust and loyalty because you're doing it again and again.
Oh, that's great. So I think we've given them a really good taste of step 2 in automation. Can you give us a brief peek at what we're going to talk about next time? Sort of pull the curtain back just a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. So once you've created that automatic process, you know where you're creating profit and success and how you're doing it consistently, then you want to upgrade your systems, your operating systems, having that level up so that you're not working in the business, putting out fires every day, and you're working on or over the business, as Roland Fraser says, is going to be the difference that allows you eventually to get investors, create that sale, but most importantly, have that lifestyle ease where you can take a vacation and you're not stuck in your business or thinking about your business every single moment.
I love it. So we've shared a lot of information today. I know we try to keep our episodes to about 30 minutes, and we're coming close to that. If you'd like to learn more, you can go to sisterstreet.show to get the list of books we talked about, to get some ideas, to connect with Sharon and I. And as always, we'd love for you to leave some comments to let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you're working on and how we can help you. So, Sharon, why don't you wrap it up and take us away?
That is it for today, folks. We're so happy to see you. Make sure you check back with us, as we said, at sisterstreet.show. We'll see you again next time.
Bye.
Aloha.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for future videos.